Anderson Cooper, AC 360, CNN weeknights 10 Eastern.
The Senate convened a special session during their summer recess to pass a bill providing $600 million in emergency border funds. Now, granted, the chamber was nearly empty, but enough showed up to send the bill to President Obama, who's going to sign it tomorrow. The money will pay for some 1,500 new border agents and equipment along the U.S.-Mexico border. It's got strong bipartisan support, as you can imagine, and with midterm elections coming up, some say that's not surprising. Let's get to the raw politics. Joining me, CNN political contributor and Democratic strategist Paul Begala, and also Joe Arpeio, sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona. Sheriff Arpeio, this bill provides 1,000 new Border Patrol, 500 Customs and Immigration agents, plus unmanned aircraft to monitor the border. Is this a real help, or do you think this is an election year stunt?
Every little bit helps. Where have they been the last 3, 4, 5 years? So it is an election year, but it's better than nothing. At least we're sending law enforcement agents down there versus the National Guard that can't do anything anyway.
Paul, to those who say, look, this is just, politics getting something done before the midterms.
I'm going to let Sheriff Arpaio speak because I want to hear him thank Nancy Pelosi and thank Harry Reid and thank Barack Obama for the assistance that they've put forward here. $600 million is not nothing. It's part of a $17 billion budget on immigration control. $17 billion. To put that in perspective, we spend $5 billion a year on cancer research. And cancer is a much greater threat, frankly, to most of us than illegal immigrants are, but what the heck?
It took them a long time to do it. I've been fighting this problem for 3 years. Their own Department of Justice is investigating me. Why doesn't the president, who has a good relationship, I believe, with the Mexican president, why don't they ask to send the Border Patrol across the border and clean up the mess and be operational like I used to be operational? Why don't they do that instead of on our side of the border, on a bilateral policy, bilateral?
I didn't hear that thank you. I didn't even hear a gracias. But, I guess we'll let that go. I don't know that we... I thought the argument was, and certainly what I believe, that we should enforce the border, not erase the border, right? I mean, there is a border. Our guys stay on our side of the border. Their guys stay on their side of the border. But, we got 2 wars going on right now. I don't know that we really need a third country to invade, Sheriff.
Well, wait a minute. This is a critical area, 2,000-mile border for terrorism. We are fighting terrorism in the Middle East. Why don't we take care of our own border and help the Mexicans with every resource we have other than just money? Let's send some people over there to help them fight this problem together.
Well, Sheriff Arpaio,
that's a good question.
In a statement today, the president said that this bill will strengthen our partnership with Mexico in targeting the gangs and criminal organizations that operate on both sides of the border. You don't believe him?
Oh, really? Yeah, really. 1,000 more. By the way, how long do you think it'll take to get 1,000 more Border Patrol? You have to train them. So, it's not going to happen overnight, I guarantee you. I was a federal official for 30 years, so I know how the feds operate.
Paul, do you think that the Arizona law has pushed the federal government to take more action?
Well, I think probably yes.
Of course it has. Of course it has.
I think it has. But now the question will be, will Sheriff Arpaio and others who've been calling for more security on the border acknowledge, gee, we're putting more security on the border. Barack Obama has increased deportations by 10% over the highest number that President Bush ever had. They're strengthening protection of the border. The question is, will those conservatives now support comprehensive immigration reform so we can grab people who are here illegally, make them pay a fine, make them pay back taxes, make them learn English, have them get to the back of the line, register with the government? That's punishment. Or are they just kind of interested in ginning it up? Oh, please, 5 different punishments. 5 different punishments. Would you want 6? Would you want 12? What do you want, Sheriff? You want to just deport them all?
No, I'm doing okay here. 100,000 are left. I lock up people in the interior. Everybody talks about the border. We enforce the laws in the interior.
40% of the undocumented aliens who are in America are here for overstaying their visa. So we can do everything we want at the border. They're coming in 40% coming in at the border legally, but then overstaying their visa. In fact, that's what a lot of these 9/11 terrorists were doing. And so don't you think we got to do more than simply secure the border? Don't you have to have comprehensive immigration reform?
No, you have to enforce the interior, lock them up inside. Also, not just at the border. If they get through, you lock them up, just like you do any other federal crime. That's good law enforcement, good strategy.
Okay, we're going to lock up 12 million people? We're going to lock up 12 million people?
Well, I don't know. We've been pretty successful. They're all leaving Arizona. If every state did what we did, maybe there wouldn't be a big problem.
they're not going to go home on their own, and they're not going to get locked up. At least, I mean, you'd have to have a police state. Nobody, you don't lock up 12 million people. But when you have politicians who can simply just scream and yell like this and get reelected, God bless you, Sheriff. I mean, I understand that politicians don't want to honestly address the problem if they're profiting politically by just hooting and hollering.
Paul Begala.
Well, I'm not a politician. I'm a law enforcement guy. I lock everybody up.
And how do you get that job, sir?
I was elected to do the job, but
that
I'm
makes
also
you a politician, which is an honorable thing. I love politicians. I spent my career working for politicians.
You want to call me a politician? Okay, thank God I'm elected. I would have been fired 17 years ago if I was appointed. I would have been fired by the bureaucrats and the politicians. You know that, but you can't fire me. You can investigate me. No, you guys can investigate me, but you can't fire me.
We got to leave it there. Sheriff Arpaio, Paul Begala. Gentlemen, thank you.